Okay, let's do a little anniversary ride. Today makes 1 year since I bought the 2022 KLR 650 Adventure. Bought it off a guy who put 396 miles on it, decided it wasn't for him, and gave me a really good deal on it. So I've had it for a year. Right now I've only got, just getting ready to turn 2,000 miles on this trip. It's not a lot of miles, but I did break a tibia back in October, and I had no weight bearing for 8 weeks. So that pretty much knocked a lot of riding off for almost really 3 months. So at the end of the ride, I will do a end of the year review and let you know what I think about things. I just mainly wanted to jump out, just do a quick ride. We've got 5 of us that are leaving for Damascus, Virginia on Sunday. And starting Monday, we're going to ride 2 days up of the Mid-Atlantic Back Road Discovery Route, end in Moorfield, West Virginia, and then turn around and go back to Damascus. So I'm wanting to say it's like 445, 450 miles each way that we've got plotted out. Definitely going to be a little warm, and that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to do a quick ride, because I'm contemplating on wearing the motocross helmet that I have on. I just got a new pair of goggles in today, so I figured I'd give it a shot. I just got a feeling that the motocross helmet is going to be a lot cooler to ride, because it's supposed to be mid-upper 90s most of the days that we're riding. Starting out relatively cool, but it's going to heat up pretty quick. So I wanted to see what the difference is wearing this helmet versus the full face modular helmet. Also test out the microphone, make sure that I'm not getting too much wind noise in for recording on the trip, because we're going to record all of the ride and everything. So it's another reason why I wanted to test this thing here out. I just don't know how bad the wind noise is going to be with a goggle, so that could be a deciding factor on what I decide to wear for the trip. Poor girl's gonna have a heat stroke. Also new for this trip is I did get a Garmin Zumo XT. It was off of Lolo Overlanding. They had a kick-ass sale that beat everybody by like 80 bucks. So this is really going to be my first ride with it. Got the Mid-Atlantic route downloaded in there, the Smoky Mountains downloaded in there. I'm still going to be running my Gaia off of my cell phone at the same time, just for a backup. So looking forward to seeing how this goes. I mounted it on the accessory bar there, and it's a nice position. Doesn't hamper anything. I do have to tuck in the electronics thing so it's not wavering. That'll drive me nuts. All right, so let's talk about the bike. I will show you the accessories that have been added and everything after the ride. But the bike itself, I really enjoy riding. Took a little bit to get used to, because I've always been a crotch rocket rider. So the single cylinder thumper is a new experience for me. Do I miss the power? Yes. Do I miss the 6th gear? Yes. Do I miss 100 pounds lighter? Definitely yes. But overall, I bought this bike for an intended purpose, and that purpose was basically to do some dual sport riding. First really test on it was back in March. We did the Smoky Mountain 500, and it performed very well and everything, so I can't complain about the bike. Like I said, the only thing that I don't like about it is the weight. It is a heavy bike. Recently I laid it down on its side in the driveway just to see how hard it was to pick up on myself, and here goes that poor girl again. Hope she didn't have heat stroke. And I'll tell you what, these things are a handful. It's basically a mini tank. By yourself, it's not the easiest. I mean, granted, I am 63 years old and not in the shape I was in my mid-20s, but even back in the heyday, this thing's a handful. Because I'm wanting to say the Adventure model is like around 480 wet weight, but then I've added the T-Rex crash bars, upper lower on it, so that's definitely added weight. Plus I had all my tools and equipment inside the pannier bags, and it's definitely hefty. On the trail, I could see where it'd be a bear if the tires are sliding into rocks and that kind of thing. But I enjoy the bike. No, it's not a motocross bike. No, it's not a single track bike. Even if I had a single track bike, I'm probably not going to do single track. I just, I'm a little bit past that stage in my riding age. So for the dirt road riding and stuff that we're going to be doing, I think it's a perfect bike. It's got a huge gas tank, 6.1 gallons, which definitely adds weight. So while some of the other guys were filling up on the smaller bikes at TW and stuff, I wasn't filling up because I knew I had the distance to cover them on a full tank with even half a tank. So to save on a little weight, you know, I would make sure that I wasn't filling up every time. But see, there it goes again. I still missed my 6th gear. I grabbed for a 6th gear. And there is. The bike itself is all ready to go, prepped. I checked the brakes. They all look good. Both of them, I should say. Chain's been lubed, adjusted it after the Smoky Mountain 500. Just changed the oil. I'm running the Moto full synthetic racing 4-cycle oil in it. That's what I ran on the first 2 previous oil changes, and the shifting and everything seems fine. So that's what I put back in for this latest oil change. And I am leaving the clutch bypass off. I did buy the clutch bypass switch, put it on, and for regular highway riding, it's okay. I wasn't thrilled about losing the braking power going down hills and mountain roads. So for these off-road riding adventures that we're doing, I've removed the clutch bypass switch and I've just left it off. Like I said, I like the engine braking. That's just me. Well, she seems to be running fine. Missing my own turn. So, just finished cleaning it up, making sure all the nuts, bolts, everything's tight. This is a KLR, Rattle Machines. And loaded up Saturday. And Sunday morning, be on the road for about a 7-hour drive. We're going up to Bristol, Virginia. We got a guy that's going to let us park our vehicles there, so we're going to leave all the trucks in Bristol, Virginia, and then make the 30-mile ride over to Damascus, and then start the ride in Damascus, Virginia on Monday. So looking forward to it, and we'll have some hopefully good ride updates and some good video for everybody. Let's talk about the add-ons on the bike. One of the first things I did was I added on the T-Rex racing bars. I originally was going to go with another brand. I think it was the Happy Trails, but they were out of stock for unlimited time. They couldn't give me an answer, so I went ahead and got the T-Rex bars, which actually worked out better, is what I wanted in the first place, because if you see, they still work with the engine crash bars that are OEM. So ended up going with the T-Rex, and I have dropped the bike over a couple of times and zero damage. The only thing I did was spray painted the bars back flat black and good to go. Let's talk about the performance of the lighting system. For stock lighting system, it works pretty well. I really don't ride at night unless just something happens, I get caught out. So most of the time I will run my fog lights during the day just for extra lighting. They seem to work pretty well even at nighttime. So I have no complaints on the headlight system, and everything else works pretty well. While I'm up front here, what I did do was raise the windscreen up to the highest level. You can see I can put my hand underneath there. When it's down lowest, you can't. Originally, when it was at the lowest setting, the wind was buffering and coming right up to about my neck level underneath my helmet, which was putting a lot of noise inside the helmet. So I made an adjustment, raised it to the highest setting, which you can see is done here, and it definitely helped deflects the wind over the top of my helmet instead of up underneath the chin strap. The front fender. A lot of people complain about how flimsy, and it is flimsy, and they say it's like a sail on a highway. I'll be honest, I've had this thing out on the highways, and I've really noticed no issues with wind catching the front fender, so I've just left it the same. Some people are changing things out, but so far it's been working good for me. All right, while we're up front, let's talk about the front tire. This is a Tusk D Sport that I ended up putting on aftermarket, of course, and so far it is working out pretty well. Very cheap tire. It's got good traction. Rode it up on the Smoky Mountain 500 in a combination of wet pavement, muddy trails, clay trails, and the tire performed. All right, this is a comparison. This is the stock Dunlops that came with the bike. They actually perform pretty well on the road, but getting on rocky roads, I noticed that the tread patterns, you can see the differences between the Tusk and the Dunlop is big time. So I found myself on gravel roads sort of sailing across instead of the tire digging down like it should. I think I changed these out right at about 1,400 miles, I believe. So there's still tire tread left on them. Like I said, they were fine for the street. I just didn't feel comfortable riding the roads with them. On the rear, I went with the Michelin Ankry Wild Adventure tire. Yes, definitely a little pricey. It was close to $200, but I've had Michelins before when I had my CBR, and I decided to just go ahead and give them a try. I did put them on a little bit before the Smoky Mountain 500. They are starting to wear a little bit, but there's still a lot of tread left on them. And compared to the stock Dunlops, which I'll show you here in a second, definitely way better in performance. Okay, so these are the stock Dunlops. Like I said, I believe I was at, I don't know, 1,400 miles when I changed them out. And you can just see the tread pattern is a lot different. You're starting to see it wear here. Again, like the front tire for street riding, it was fine. Just not enough to grip loose dirt and rock off-road. So I believe right now is a good switch. Will I go back with the Ankrys? I'm not sure. We're doing the Mid-Atlantic ride here in 2 weeks from today. And I may try the Tusk D Sport or another tire on the back. The gentleman that I bought the bike off of last year had already done a couple of upgrades. He had bought aftermarket foot pegs. Have no idea what brand they are, but they work pretty well. he put this green piece on here, and he'd also put this, it's a nice CNC rear foot brake pad, which is pretty nice, and it's green, so it stands out. He'd put that on there as well. All right, so let's talk about the OEM bags. They look cheap, but I gotta tell you, they actually hold up pretty well. When I dropped the bike on a gravel road, it just put a little scuff here and a scuff here. They didn't break, scuffed a little bit down here, so they're actually pretty sturdy as far as that goes. I was really surprised that it didn't shatter or anything, but it held up pretty good. The locks are keyed with the same as your ignition switch, so that's how you take them off, and they'll slide and lock back on. So they're easily removable. You can remove these things in a matter of seconds, one-handed. So if you want a clean, just enduro look, and you're not going with your bags, you don't need them, there you go. You got it nice and clean. All right, to open the bag, unlocked, lifts up. These are, I believe, are 22 quart bags. They do hold quite a bit. When I traveled Smoky Mountain 500, when I was going, I had a waterproof bag that I had strapped on back here. As you can see, I painted this flat black. It's scuffed up a little bit from the bag, so I'll retouch that up. But these here, they're good. They're waterproof. No water at all gets in them, at least not anything that I've done. And they lock, so it's pretty nice to be able to lock and secure your valuables in there. All right, so the 2022 Adventure model does come with, again, like I said, with your light switch for your fog lights, your 12-volt power accessory down here, which you can plug GPS in, whatever. What I'm doing now is I will be plugging my GPS, not actually my phone, my spare phone. Just realized that's bent. Okay, we'll see if it works. Plug this in, and this is one of those stupid lighted ones, but the good thing about it is, with it lighted, is I can tell if it's still plugged in, if it came loose or whatever. I know that my phone is charging without having to look at the thing on my phone to see if it's charging or not. So I got that run across here, and I plug it into my phone right here. Okay, you see when I power it on, it's just a cheap USB cable that's, hopefully you can see it, that is actually lit up. Here we go. Plug it back in where it's lit up. That way I can make sure that I'm getting charged. I run it to a phone. Now the phone I got hooked in here right now is currently my good working phone, but normally what I've been doing for GPS is I've been running an old Moto Stylus phone that I strictly have for Gaia, and I run off that because I want my working phone on my person, just in case there's an accident and I can't get back to the bike and I need to call someone. I do go ahead and I keep my working phone inside a jacket that I'm riding with, but I also ride with a Garmin InReach system inside my jacket. I know some people clip it to the outside of their jackets, but I put it on the pocket on the inside for the same thing. If I fall, I don't want the InReach to get ripped away. So this here's works fine, and that's what I've been using for navigation until I just did get a Garmin Zumo XT that I've got mounted now. I got a really good deal on Lolo Country. I have to look at the exact thing. I'll provide a link in it when I do my accessories. And got a really good price. It kicked everybody's butts by about $80 delivered. So I went ahead and I've got my Garmin Zumo mount up on the accessory bar up here. It was easy to wire in, comes down, and I've got it wired directly to the battery. This is the Garmin backing piece, but I needed a mount, which I'll see if I can come around the other side and see, to hook this to, and I found that on Amazon. So the Garmin mount comes with a rubber piece here that you just unplug. It needs to go back in. I do need to put a screw in there, hold that in place, and this hangs down, move it up out of the way, and that just keeps the contacts here nice and clean. So let me see if I can do this one-handed or not. It's a little bit tight, so sometimes it takes two hands for it really to go on, which I think it's going to do here. So let me put it on. Okay, so that's the Garmin mount that goes up there, and like I said, you can see it's pretty sturdy. It locks on good, and now I've got GPS up there that I can pre-download, and I'll go over the Garmin stuff when I do the apps. But you see I just plugged it in, and it's got a constant power source to the battery, so I didn't even have to turn the switch on in the back. Once I hit it and hit the contacts, it fires up. So I've got a constant wire to the battery there, and then over here, if I want to still run my Gaia app, I can run my Gaia app at the same time. If I just want to run my regular phone apps, there it is. I've got my phone apps that I can run there as well. So, and like I said, I'm running constant power from here over to my phone or my secondary, and that's what I'll be using the other phone for, is basically just a secondary app that I can run at the same time. But I'll be running my preloaded screens off of the Garmin app here. And there's a ton of videos on the Garmin Azumo, so I'm not going to go into that on how it works and everything. But so far, being able to run the two together at the same time works out pretty nice. And I forgot, the only thing that I also added aftermarket was the guy that sold it to me. As you can see, it's hit here a couple places. I had to readjust it. He gave me an aftermarket shifter extender, which with the riding boots definitely helps out. And other than that, that's pretty much it. Everything else is still stock on this thing. So right at 2,000 miles and pretty happy with it. Is it a heavy bike? Absolutely. About a week ago, I laid it on its side just to see if I could pick it up on my own, and I did, but I've got to tell you, it's not easy. So I wish it was about 100 pounds lighter, maybe like a DR650. Really, the only last upgrade I still got to do is get rid of these flimsy ass wind guards and get some bark busters to put on there. I want to try to get that done and installed before this next ride here in 2 weeks. Other than that, I'm pretty much done. I've left the stock mirrors on. Having the collapsible foldable ones that get underneath trees and stuff is nice. It's easy. But as far as vibration and stuff, I really haven't noticed anything on these. So I've left them on. I eventually will go after market mirrors, but the next important pressing item really is getting bark busters for the handlebars. Other than that, I'm pretty much done doing what I'm doing to this bike.